Hello guys, this is Puneet Gupta, your lecturer. So we're studying Architectural Graphics Studio and this is lecture 4. Now in the past we did some basic uh, tool uses and practices in Photoshop. Now we're going to continue with our study and this is chapter 3. We have already learned some tricks in architectural rendering and we're going to continue that in this chapter. This is chapter 3, Photoshop in Architecture. Now in this chapter, this is unit 2, we are going to have the learning of patterns, colors and shadows. So you are going to use the pattern, color and shadows in Photoshop. What we're going to do is, we're going to transform a simple image that we obtained from AutoCAD and we're going to transform it into a more graphical textured look like we are seeing in this picture. So this is a basic image that we obtained from AutoCAD, but it has already been rendered, so our objective is to make our elevation pop out like this one. So let's move ahead with our course. So guys, open up your Photoshop and open up the file that you did rendering in plan. So basically open the PSD file of the plan and you obtain an image. We have already obtained the image like we are saying in this picture. Now at first what we need to do is we have to define a pattern for this rendering. So first of all, open the image that you want to transform as a pattern. So open any kind of image that you have. So basically I have already done my selection, so it has already popped up like this one. If you have stored your images of patterns of tiles, textures, you could browse those images and select your desired image. So open up the image that you like. Now we have a pattern like this one. Now what we need to do is we have to crop this image. Crop this image in a defined scale. It needs to be 8 by 8. So once you have done, so it's already in a defined size, so I don't need to crop it. But if your pixels are not in the defined size, you should crop it in a defined scale. So once it's in the 8 by 8 scale, you just press enter and the image is cropped. After we've done with cropping, go to the edit menu. It's right beside file menu. Go to the edit menu and press define pattern. You guys see the define patterns? Yeah. Now press the define pattern tab and then you have to name this pattern. Name it any thing you like. I name it Part-1. So this pattern is defined. Once your pattern is defined, go back to your original plan. Now this is a plan. Now what you guys have to do is select the floor layer. Now I want to transform this floor of the living room into a patterned look. So I select the layer of the floor, select the pixels. First of all, go to the floor layer, use highlight it and then select the pixels. Keep in mind that your selected areas would be highlighted like this one, like you're seeing in the screen. Once you've done selecting your pixels, then go to the blending options and then you find a tab named pattern overlay. Here you have various kinds of styles that you could use for your further future renderings, but right now we're going to go with pattern overlay. So once you have selected the pattern overlay, you guys will find some kind of pattern like this one because it's the default pattern. But the pattern that you've just created would pop up like this one. So basically select the pattern that you want to use and then scale it in a desired size. I scale it in a more smaller size. I think 13 is looking better. So you use the defined scale, then press OK. Now our pattern is selected. So the living room now has a parquet flooring. Similarly, you could add different type of textures for your kitchen or other areas. Use various kind of textures, or you could use the same texture. It depends upon you. Now, for what I need you guys to do is you just simply fill all of the remaining areas like we just did, and create a more graphical kind of flooring. So, guys, I think we've come up to this level now. So, after some time that you've done finish rendering and filling patterns in your various areas, you'll get an image like this one, just as you've seen here. So, you could go on and use more colors and more patterns, and you could also add up carpets or other areas if you want to add up more distinct elements in your planning. So I think this much is okay for now. So just after you've finished rendering and you've obtained this kind of image, just save your Photoshop file, save as PSD. It should be in Photoshop format, PSD file. So save it, and then you'll have your Photoshop document. And for saving it as a JPEG, go to the save as option and use JPEG format. So you could use the JPEG formatting for any kind of imaging. Okay, now after you've done saving your image, now voila, you've got your image. We've started from an image like this one, and we've obtained more simple rendering. So if you go on rendering this kind of images in various kind of softwares, it may take some time, but it once you've finished with your planning, you could simply use Photoshop to use this kind of simple imaging. Now moving on, we would add some PNG formatting, and we'd also use some similar kind of color overlapping and pattern overlapping in our elevations and sections. For the next step, I suggest you guys to import your elevations and sections. You should obtain a clearer image like this one. It shouldn't have any kind of dimensions, text, or any kind of hatching, so that you would have the rendering process more easy. First of all, export your images, and then we'd move on with the next step. I think you've got your elevations. So now remember, the elevation image should be as clear as this one. It shouldn't have any kind of dimensions, hatchings. So once you have obtained this kind of image, then it's the similar process that we did in the planning. So first of all, you just make a copy of your background layer. You just simply use Ctrl Z, and then you'll add an elevation copy. So you have elevation copy area layer. You'll just get it right above the background layer. After you've copied your background image of the elevation, so all the editing that we are going to do is going to be based on this elevation. First of all, I think you guys should select the areas that you need to color. Now let's select wall colors, because maximum rendering that we are going to do is based on walls. So regarding your elevations, just add your areas using the magic wand tool here. Add your areas and add other areas similar to this one using hold shift key, then you just select the desired areas. Select your areas just like this one. Once you've done selecting all of your areas, what you do is you use the copy tool. What we do is we just copy these layers and paste it, or you could just click Ctrl Z. Adding Ctrl Z would create another area like this one of wall color area. And once you've made the copy of your elevations, now go to the layer tab, select blending option, select your pixels at first, then go to blending options. Then you could just fill the color, the desired color that you want here. Using color overlay, you simply add any kind of colors. Basically, I think I'd go with yellow. So I think this is appropriate. Once you've added color overlay, you could find that your image has been recolored. It's a very easy process. First you have to select all of your areas, and then you need to go to the layers tab, select blending options, and then we're done with color overlay. Similarly guys, you have to select all of your desired areas. If you have different colors for different areas, just go and select your desired areas and you could just fill them up like this one. Now let's go let's move ahead with some kind of opacity. So I think we need to do some hatchings. If you have any kind of distinct patterns that you need to show, like this one we have of the roof. If you want these patterns to pop out of your elevations, then what we need to do is we need to create a separate layer for this hatching. Go back to your original layer, select the polygonal lasso tool, and then you just add up the areas that you need to work on. You could use the magnetic lasso tool, or you could just use the polygonal lasso tool. Hold on shift for more ease, and then just go on clicking the desired areas. Once you've done selecting the distinct areas that you need to work on, for example roof, then you just make a copy, Ctrl Z. The copy of the layer has been created here. Let's name it roof. So in this layer what we are going to do is we're going to use color overlay, and then we are going to show the textures that are hidden. We go to the blending options, go to color overlay, and then you just select a desired color. I think this blue color is okay for the roof, but as you can see this color has overlapped over the given texture. So what we do is we just decrease the opacity from this tab. Now see in the left hand side guys that the color is fading. It depends on the opacity that you use, what kind of texture that you need to show. If this is okay, then I think 70 to 60% opacity would show your textures of the background. I think this one's okay. Now you have a popping out roof. You also have the texture and the color you need to show on the roof. Similarly, select all of your desired areas and go on filling until you have done, and then we'll move on with the next step. Now once you've done coloring your desired areas, you could also add colors to your windows so that they may seem more realistic. So let's add up windows as well. Go to the elevation copy layer, simply add windows. Select all the windows at once, because you don't need to recolor it one and again. So simply selecting all of your window areas. You have to be perfect guys. If your windows are not going to be selected as shown in the screen, then it means that your screen may not be selecting the desired areas, because maybe the lines are overlapping each other, or maybe the lines have not crossed. So what you have to do is you have to have a clear AutoCAD elevations like this one. So once you've done selecting all of these areas that you need to show as a glass, then you could just simply add another layer. Let's name it windows. Then and you could go with the similar process. Let's do color overlay. Let's select more lighter color. Let's say, yeah, I think this color seems to be nicer. So you could also decrease the opacity that you like. I think I've missed my area, so I have to go back. Guys, I think there's something wrong with my screen. So I think my desktop has just crashed. So So guys, after you've done copying all of your layers, select your layers of the windows, and then you could just simply add a texture. And I think I lost. Let's add this area as well. Doesn't matter. Adding this area to my image. Let's go back, and then we use blending options, go to color overlay, simply I think this area has not been selected, so I would go back again and make a new layer. I simply make another layer from this elevation copy, Ctrl Z. So this window layer is not needed, so I delete it and make a new window layer. The new window layer has been created. So once you've selected the pixels, go back with the blending options to color overlay and use a more bluish color, light blue maybe, what you need to show in the represent as a glass. I think this layer here is okay. And this color seems suitable enough. Now we will go back, and you could also decrease the opacity, giving it more faded kind of look. Now you have an okay picture like this one. So you have the windows representing a glass feel. If you would like to add more kind of realistic imaging to your windows, you could just browse any kind of windows that you could find in the net, and you could just simply scale the window to the size of this windows and then overlap it above. I'll show you an example of overlapping a PNG file for this door here. So next step, we'd do some editing in this door. Now going back, I think you should just browse any kind of door. If you have not found any door, simply go and browse a door from the net and open it. I've kept as a collection of my doors. I don't have a lot of collections, but I think some of the collections might work here. Going to the door samples, I think I'll use this door here. So you have a door like this one, so I'm going to use this door for my main door. I'll just copy this door and paste it in my elevation here. Simply what you do is, first of all, select the pixels. You could use the marquee tool, copy it, Ctrl C, and then go back to the elevation file and then just paste it. Once you've pasted the image, it may come in a bigger size, then you have to rescale it according to your door here. You could rescale it using Ctrl T and holding shift. Remember guys, you have to be careful, because while scaling it, you should always be holding shift, and this should scale your drawing proportionally. Once you scale the image according to the size, for say in this case a door, I think the door is a single fold, I need a bifold door, so what I'll do is I'll just copy this door and make it a bifold. I what I did is I just removed shift, so what you have is you don't have a proportionate scaling, but holding this one, I think for now it would work. To make it a bifold, I simply scale it from the side. Then what I do it, after pressing enter, I will define sides. So I would just duplicate this door. What I do, I go back here, select the pixels. Remember, you have to rename your layers, because if you won't rename it, it would be very difficult for you to go back and re-edit. So once you've selected the pixels, go to the move tool. Once the move tool is selected, simply what you do is use hold on alt. After holding to alt, you could see a black and white arrow image here. So this means that it's going to duplicate. After this arrow is seen, simply click on the door and simply drag it. Holding shift, drag it, because when you hold shift, it would go on copying in a similar lane. After it's copied, what you do is, once the area is being selected, it has to be selected here like this one. Now hold Ctrl T. Then what you do is go back to your small door image and right click. Then what you do here is you flip it. Here you have the flip options. After you've gone to the free transform tool, just flip the door horizontally. After the door is flipped horizontally, press enter. Then you just simply drag the door back nearer to the original door, and then click use the marquee tool and click anywhere outside. So here you have a bifold door, but it's still not in scale. So what you do, you just simply use Ctrl T again. It hasn't selected, so select the pixels at first, use Ctrl T, and then holding shift. You don't need to hold the shift in this one, so no need to hold shift. Just simply move the scaling from right hand side. Here you have a door, image of a door, realistic door, overlain on the given drawing. Similarly, you could add any kind of window textures on top of your elevations, and it would give you a more realistic kind of look and feel. Now what I need you guys to do is add up any missing layers, any kind of missing parts that you want to show a more realistic view, and simply color it, fill it with color overlaying, or you could just add textures to it, and then you could just have an image like this one. Now for going towards the next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase the background of this image. First of all, go to the original layer. If the lines are distinct like this one, you won't have any difficulty deleting the layer. Now after you have gone through the layer, your original layer, select it, select the periphery outside it, and then what you guys can do is you could just simply delete the layer. After the external areas are selected, delete it. Use the delete key on your keyboard and just delete the areas of the background like we did in the background ball. If the lines are distinct like this one, you won't have any difficulty deleting the layer. Now after you have gone through the layer, your original layer, select it, select the periphery outside it, and then what you guys can do is you could just simply delete the layer. After the external areas are selected, delete it. Use the delete key on your keyboard and just delete the areas of the background like we did in the background ball.